When clients tell me they have memory challenges, I wonder, is it actually their retrieval that they're having difficulties with, or did the information even get in the first place? Difficulties with attention can mean that it's challenging for a person to ignore distractions in order to absorb information. Challenges with slow information processing, think of your poor turtle brain, can make it really difficult to keep up with a lot of information that is presented rapidly, especially when it's complex or when it contains unfamiliar terminology like medical or legal jargon. A significant component of cognitive communication therapy is to evaluate a client's attention skills and see how those can be improved so that more information can get in, your librarian knows where to put it in an organized way, and your retrieval robot knows exactly where to go to find it. Let's take a look at my handouts. First of all, did you know that there are four types of attention? The first kind is basic sustained attention. As the name suggests, that's your ability to hold on to your attention for prolonged periods of time. Can you participate in lengthy meetings? Can you watch a full movie? How long can you read a book for? Selective attention, as the name suggests, indicates you are selecting what you want to focus on while ignoring distractions or irrelevant information. This can become much more challenging after a collision. In the case of clients with brain injuries, we see this purple person in the park trying to read a book, but there are many auditory and visual distractions. There's people talking nearby, there's a person playing with a ball, there's dogs barking, there's babies crying, and there's a jet flying overhead. All of these visual and auditory distractions make it difficult for your poor brain to keep up, and it leaves people feeling overwhelmed and they need to leave situations or disengage from conversations. In my simplified overview of cognitive communication disorders video, we talked about how hearing challenges and slash or central auditory processing challenges can make it difficult for people to keep up with those who talk too quickly, to filter out background noises and music or cars honking. And it's almost as though all of this auditory information is trying to squeeze through a funnel, and your poor turtle brain can only go so fast to keep up with all of this incoming information. When there's too much coming, some of it is going to overflow out of the funnel. Not everything is getting in the first place. It leaves people feeling like they're trying to sprint on a treadmill with a broken leg, trying to keep up with the conversation, which is just absolutely exhausting. One of the simplest yet most effective tools I've learned from Sheila McDonald is to simply slow your rate of speech and add more pauses. I don't do that in my videos for the sake of listener interest, but what you can do is go to your settings on YouTube playback and slow the rate at which you watch my videos. You can also take strategic pauses to periodically process different chunks of the information I give you. Again, in my Cognitive Communication Disorders, a simplified overview video, we review how vision challenges are really common after a brain injury, including difficulties with double vision, blurred vision, visual convergence and divergence, depth perception, tracking, and light sensitivity. Again, it's like all of this information is coming through the funnel to your poor turtle brain, and while you want most of your daily activity points and cognitive points to be going towards thinking and speaking, part of your budget is being lost trying to make sense of these images that no longer make sense. So again, it leaves people feeling exhausted. We know that emotions can impact attention. When you are spiked into your emotional brain, it is more challenging to access your higher level thinking processes. I don't know about you, but when I get flooded with intense feelings of stress or anger or anxiety, etc., it's really difficult for me to focus on what anybody else is saying. Not only that, but it becomes more challenging to find your words and put together logical sentences. So overall, you're just feeling, what the heck is going on? Finally, a major internal distraction can be pain. Lots of people after a collision have chronic and severe pain. So again, while they want most of their cognitive budget or resources to be going towards communicating, unfortunately, they're leaking some of that cognitive budget because they are distracted by their pain symptoms. So again, that leaves clients feeling absolutely exhausted. Alternating attention is when we are rapidly shifting our attention between two tasks that require different cognitive sets. So, say you're in the middle of writing a report, but then you get a phone call, which you have to answer, but then someone comes knocking at your door with questions for you to answer. You have had to shift from absorbing what you've read in your report to dealing with what you were talking about on the phone to now switching topics with a different person about something else entirely. So that's alternating attention. Or even if you're writing a report and then you answer the phone, alternating attention helps you get back to writing the report without forgetting where you left off. Divided attention is true multitasking, where you are actually doing two things at the same time, like listening while trying to take notes or while driving and talking at the same time. I've read some research that multitasking is not good for your brain. And in fact, I've also heard that there's no such thing as true multitasking. It's more actually alternating attention. For brain injury rehabilitation, it's really important that we try not to multitask and instead focus on one thing at a time. There are some programs like Attention Process Training, or APT, that are designed to improve sustained, selective, and alternating attention skills within structured digital tasks. My caveat about brain training programs is be sure to do the research about its actual efficacy, because just because you're improving on the digital tasks does not necessarily mean those improvements are going to translate in real world environments. There are absolutely some programs that can help. I have worked with audiologists who have recommended training programs to help with auditory attention, meaning it can help clients ignore background noise while focusing on the conversation at hand, but be sure to check the research. The best way to improve attention skills is by doing functional tasks and applying attention strategies to improve your performance. Let's go through some of these strategies. First of all, you have to even identify when you are likely to have attention challenges. This requires metacognitive skills, or thinking about how you think. You have to connect with your body before high-stakes communication tasks, for example, a meeting or an important conversation with a loved one. Check in with yourself and do a rating to see how am I. So before these important communication tasks, you do your internal scan and give yourself a number between 1 and 10. If your score is between 1 and 3, you are in the green zone and you are ready to achieve things. If your score is between 4 to 6, you are in the yellow zone and you can probably accomplish short or easy tasks. If you are in the red zone, it would be best to postpone if you cannot lower your score. In order to know how you can lower your score, you have to be able to identify, why is my rating so elevated? Am I tired? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I in pain? Am I distracted? Finding out the why your score is so high will let you know which strategies you can strategically implement to get a lower score and therefore improve your attentional abilities, or your ability to focus on the important high stakes conversation that's coming up. I really like this reminder: build your confidence, aim for progress rather than perfection. This is easier said than done, particularly with my type A clients who are high performers pre-collision. Often my clients are used to getting things done. They have their poop in a group and they like to hit the ground running and just go. They are used to doing things well without putting in too much cognitive effort. Therefore, after a brain injury, sometimes due to difficulties with insight, people not even realize they have the challenges they do, or they overestimate their abilities, given their stage of recovery. When they take on tasks that are too challenging, they can become quite upset when their performance is less than perfect. This is where I remind you, you have to take breaks. If your brain is injured, you cannot expect it to work the same as it does before. Just because people don't go around wearing a cast on their head doesn't mean their brain is totally fine. It's the unfortunate reality that brain injury is most often invisible, and therefore it's easy for not only friends and family members to not understand the extent of your challenges, but my clients also don't realize, oh, this is challenging because my brain is injured. I'm not actually stupid. And that's the risk with cognitive communication challenges after a brain injury. When you break your leg, you don't expect to be able to run a marathon on it. So why is it that when we injure our brain, which is the hub, the control center for all things related to our conscious existence and unconscious existence, why do we expect perfection out of an organ that is injured? Try not to criticize yourself. Please remind yourself, this is my injury. I'm not stupid. It will get better with time. I just need to be more strategic. Also, allow yourself plenty of time to complete tasks. Do budget in breaks. Do calculate how many activity points you have to spare. Do calculate how many activity points this task will cost you and whether you can afford it in your budget or whether you need to break the task down into smaller steps and space it out over the course of several days. Estimating difficulty and time will give you information to help guide choices down the road. If you think it's going to take you 5 minutes to send an email, but it actually takes you an hour, you can then stop and assess, why did it take me so long? Could I not find the words? Did I have challenges reading the text on the page? Was it difficult for me to translate my thoughts into written text? Was it difficult for me to sequence my thoughts? What comes first, next, then? By estimating how difficult a task will be and how long it will take you to complete it, you can compare your actual performance to your prediction to build your insight into where your skill set actually lies, where your pitfalls are, so that you can then pick what strategies you will use moving forward the next time you attempt this task. Using the Plan, Do, Review tool I explore in another video can help you with this. However, if things do not go as planned, being cognitively flexible can be more challenging after a brain injury, but it is an important skill. So if things don't turn out the way you had planned, this means you will have to reevaluate your plan and either tweak it or take a break, do something else, and come back to the task later. Importantly, if you are struggling with a cognitive task, when you take a break, switch to something that is physical, not cognitive. So for example, can you do your physiotherapy exercises or go for a walk or do something that doesn't require thinking? Importantly, mindless scrolling on social media does count as thinking and cognitive work. It is also important to eliminate any environmental distractions. Turn off the TV, turn off the radio, close the windows, close the doors, give yourself a nice quiet environment. If you can't make a quiet environment, can you move your conversation to a more appropriate place? If you are planning a family dinner for a special occasion, can you get a table that is close to the back? Or can you request one of those sequestered rooms they sometimes have? Go see my video on cognitive depletion to understand why brain breaks are so important to help your attention skills. If you don't take enough breaks, you won't even realize that you are making more mistakes and that your productivity has diminished. Try to focus on one task at a time. Do not multitask whenever possible. Try to read when you feel you're most attentive. Some people feel more cognitively alert in the morning. This makes sense if we think about our activity points diet, where you haven't spent as many points in the morning compared to at the end of the day. You've probably spent most of your daily budget at that point. Try to do the reading tasks when you feel you're most alert. Is it mid-morning after your medications and coffee have kicked in? You are the judge of that. When you are switching between tasks, give yourself a miniature break. This will give your brain a little bit of time to catch up and switch cognitive sets so that you forget the task parameters you were just working on and get ready to switch into the next cognitive set for the upcoming task. Some people find it's helpful to talk to themselves aloud as they are switching to a different task. Active listening is super important. In my SQ3R video, we talked about the difference between passive reading and active reading. Passive listening means, sure, you are hearing the words, but is your brain actually processing the information, keeping up with it, and is your librarian actually grabbing onto the books and putting them where they're supposed to go? Try to build the metacognitive skill of self-monitoring your attention. You can repeat important points in your head. You can listen for the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, and why, to help you focus on the most important points and ignore irrelevant information. You can ask clarifying questions or probing questions. And instead of summarizing what the other person has said, which is basically repeating their words, I want you to put it in your own words, because when you paraphrase something, that means your brain is active and engaged and actually working with the material. Paraphrasing is also a really great way to signal and confirm with the other person that you have correctly understood their message. By paraphrasing, it gives them the opportunity to confirm, yes, that's correct, or no, let me clarify. I always say communication is a two-way street. You are the one with the brain injury. It is not your sole responsibility to help you keep up in conversations. With a few self-advocacy scripts and a little bit of education, others will be happy to help you as well. They want you to participate in conversations. clients. They like you. They want to hear what's going on in your head, and they want to be able to include you in important life moments. They will be happy to implement a few simple strategies to help you keep up. So here's what others can do to help you. First of all, you do have to let them know sometimes you have challenges with attention. You can also ask your loved ones to speak clearly, add more pauses, keep the message short and sweet, and do not bounce from topic to topic rapidly. You don't need to speak too slowly, but adding some strategic pauses gives clients' turtle brains enough time to keep up with chunks of information. If you are going to change a topic, announce it. You can explicitly say, okay, now we're done talking about scheduling, we're moving on to planning our vacation. Your conversation partners can help you make any environmental modifications necessary to improve your attention and reduce distractions, including using things like checklists or reminding you to set a reminder on your phone to do various things. And this information was brought to you by brainline.org, Attention and Brain Injury. Also, the University of Washington TBI Model System and the University of Washington Medical Center. With these key strategies, you are setting yourself up for success with conversational tasks by taking control of your environment, feeling more in control of your internal symptoms, and feeling more confident that you have done everything in your power to maximize your success in conversations. Thank you for your attention and have a fabulous day.